Live.
Oh, wow.
Just loading it up on YouTube. I'll put the link in the chat if you want to see how it looks.
Yeah, I'm going to open it up on my other laptop.
Wow, is that easy? I didn't know it was just like straight from Zoom to YouTube like that. Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I know. Yeah, you could just go straight up live. And here we are. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Man, haven't done a live in a long time. And here we are.
I was going to say, I don't know how to act.
Live Euphoria discussion. Let me post that in a couple places, couple spots.
Okay.
And then we could jump right into it, gang. How's everyone doing today?
Feeling peachy.
Good. Yeah.
Feeling peachy?
Yeah. I feel like a peach right now.
All right,
Aww.
beautiful. Yeah, I've had a long. This has been a long, a heavy year so far. Like January, February, it's been very busy and very packed. And like, I feel like the way last year ended, maybe because we had like Omicron and things, like it felt like things were a bit slower paced, kind of chill, and just January's just been nuts. Do you guys feel that at all?
January has, and then it's like February already blew past, so now it's
yeah,
we're already almost a quarter of the way done with the year.
And now March is like the longest month of the year, and it's like
yeah, and then just no vacation, no time,
vacation, no.
I'm thinking on to the summer. I just that's the beacon right there.
The summer, yeah. Hoping it's a hot boy summer.
I'm dead.
Oh boy. But all right, guys. Let's jump into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the welcome back to the Circle Club. I am Tyrone. I'm here with Miss Talia of Tea Time. I'm here with Jumping on a Jet, Mr. Jet Yalito. How are you? Today we're going to be discussing Euphoria season 2 finale. Wow. Talia, here we are. Like, it feels like we made our prediction trailer video like yesterday, and like
I know.
No more Sunday routine, Monday routine. We're gonna have to find another show to watch. So if you guys have a show that we should watch, let us know in the comments below. But yeah, how are you feeling right now? What's your initial thoughts?
I'm like sad that it's over, and the fact that it's gonna take another probably 2 years for it to come back makes me even more like devastated.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see where they're heading at with this, like this whole plot. I feel like we'll discuss more about this later, but I'm just interested to know where they're gonna like take this.
Where they're taking our family, this has become a family. And it's funny because Talia, I feel like when we first started too, like we were like, yeah, there's not a ton of people out here watching Euphoria, like, and then like all of a sudden it just like, I don't know, after like episode 3 or 4, it just felt like a wave. Like, I don't know, like, you binged the show, right?
Yeah, so I binged it right before the first episode. So I watched the first season and then those 2 extra episodes, and then like immediately started season 2. So
how did you hear about it, or like what made you watch it? Like, how'd you jump into it?
It was always about the hype, and then Drake's name was attached to it. So I was like, all right, let me see what
Future too, I think.
I just mainly heard Drake, and I was like, oh, if Drake has a show that's kind of like Degrassi, it's got to be good. So that was just how I put it together. And then it's been a crazy ride. This second season was very, very different from the first season. They started off very similar to the first, but then it kind of just divvied off to its own thing, kind of taking over the theme of Lexi's play as it went along, and that kind of separated it.
So one thing I've been hearing a ton about is with this finale is there's been a lot of discussion about like plot holes and things left behind. And I'm curious what you guys think, because I have a visual communication film background. So the way I kind of look at it is a little bit different sometimes, I think, than people who just kind of casually watch and stuff. And like, I think where a lot of people see plot holes, I kind of see it more as like they left it open for interpretation. And what I'm realizing from like the reaction from seeing from a lot of people is a lot of people don't like that anymore. Like leaving things open for interpretation. Talia, I know you're a big Shameless fan too. Yeah, I don't know if you ever finished.
I love, yeah,
love Shameless. So like the way Shameless ended, you kind of know where the family's going, but like they could have kept it going, right?
And they could have referenced. They could have referenced. I don't know if I could. They could have referenced Fiona in the ending. You know, they could have brought in the characters. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, but they chose not to and kind of left it open for us to be like, all right, what do you think is going to happen with these characters? So I kind of like that. Now, the other thing that needs to be said before we talk about this is when you're shooting a TV show, it's different than a movie. You don't shoot the whole thing and then it's all done. You shoot maybe like 2 or 3 episodes. They get the scripts going. They start writing 4, 5, 6. And then they get that approved. So they at the time, I think they knew that they were potentially going to season 3, but they didn't really know. Because like I said, there was this crazy wave that happened out of nowhere. Like season 1 happened and all of a sudden, boom. So that all being said, how do you guys feel about that? Like a bunch of these plot holes being left behind. Are there some that you care more than others? What do you think?
For me, like I hate it, but at the same time, I love it just because, like you said, it's just more of like, what do I think happens? Like in my head, I'm like thinking of like Skins. They also did like similar things where, you know, plot holes were never really resolved. But at the same time, it was like I hated it, but I'm also like, well, I kind of like to imagine what happened, you know, like to think of different theories that could have happened. So I'm okay with season 2 doing that. And I actually was watching some episodes today from season 1 just to like, you know, kind of compare the two. But season 1 also had like a couple of plot holes too that were never really resolved. And I think, I don't know if people really thought about that when they were watching season 2, but you know, I think that's kind of like the beauty of TV shows kind of leaving you to think about like, what do you think is going to happen? You know?
Right. Exactly. And I think, and before you jump in, like,
no worries.
I think there's kind of a difference in my opinion than like a plot hole and something not being resolved. Like a plot hole to me would be, okay, Cassie got pregnant and she's running around and like doing all this stuff. It's like, girl, you're pregnant. So that doesn't make sense. Something that was unresolved was like, did she get an abortion or not? But I think the way this show works is it's like, why do I need to show you that? Like, clearly she got an abortion because she's running around doing all these different things. She's drunk, you know what I'm saying? So I think they leave a lot for the viewer to kind of do some active thinking. And I think a lot of people also look at this show, they kind of think of it more of like a Gossip Girl or something like that. But I think with this show, it does take a little bit of, you know, thinking about what happened, where it's going. And then you throw in the whole like artsy visual stuff happening. I think that kind of frustrates people because they're like, tell me what this means. What do you think?
So I with the plot holes, I'm fine with that because that's bargaining chips for their next season. Yeah, these guys want to know what happened to McKay. These guys want to know what happened. So we need a 3rd season. So
get McKay. We got to give McKay a job.
They're definitely. I know he's definitely gonna come back in a interesting fashion. I mean, they have that to their availability, and I thought Cal was gonna be used in the same way. Maybe he might still be, but you know what happened to him. But I just think like first season versus this season, the first season did a good job of kind of letting you know this is like anticipate season 2 for this reason. Like I felt like that a lot more with season 1 versus season 2. There was little anticipation that was given. They could have did quick references. And I also have a big gripe that kind of it kind of came together at this last episode, and it's the reuse of Rue's father's funeral, and they did do it very, very beautifully with the picture at the end. I like that, and it was part of the play. Beautiful. Yep. But I just felt like they built it up, and kind of made a kind of analogy to Fez's situation with it. And to me, it was just like, oh, this was the big buildup. I wasn't too happy with that.
So it's interesting. So I watched the show and I kind of went into it. I had to train myself to do this, but I don't even think I make fun predictions, but I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen anymore. Like you cannot get attached to ideas like Marvel and Disney and all these different things. Like you just got to be like, it is what it is, whatever happens, and just kind of try to enjoy the ride. And so for me, I was thinking in the back of my head, even just on episode 1, I was like, okay, we just had a global pandemic, so they're going to be limited in what they can do. So like, how is that going to affect the plot and things like that? And I feel like a lot of people are kind of forgetting that there was this huge pandemic in between the 2 seasons. So like, and it wasn't like they were shooting in between that time. Like they had to kind of like the last 9 months get it all together. Yeah. So I think that probably also played a factor into a lot of it. But yeah, I definitely can understand what you're saying, where it felt like they did that a lot in season 1, like Talia said. Like there's this huge buildup, and you're like, where is it going to? Like, is Lori going to kill Rue? Is Fez gonna die? Is McKay going to get back at Nate? Like a lot of those kind of like things that they brought a lot of antagonists and like agitation to us as a viewer. It didn't resolve. And I think I like it and I don't like it. Like you said, there's bargaining chips with it. But I think ultimately what season 2 showed me is like, yes, there's an ensemble, but this is a story about Rue. And whatever other little pieces we get, it all comes back to her and like telling her story and how to like veil her story. But yeah, so that's kind of how I felt about that. Talia, did you have something that, or go ahead?
Real quick, my only problem with that is because is the fact that it was definitively clear, because Rue's narration was like, yeah, this is Rue's story, narrating the story, telling it, and then they divvied from it at some point in season 2, and then opened it up. And at that point, now, like as a viewer, and especially I know they must have it had to be some sort of intention. They kind of opened the space up to like this is. And I think they even mentioned it too, saying that this is a story about a moment in time or something like that. And so it opens it up to more than just Rue. And then when you do that, there's expectations where I feel like
So one thing we Talia and I were talking about is I am a big believer that Rue equals Sam Levinson. I think Rue is like kind of this character vessel that he speaks through. And I think Lexi is kind of like almost like his writer self, writing for that story and kind of trying to get some of these other little pieces out. And what I really loved about Lexi's play was, like, first off, the execution was great. It was funny. The way they handled some of the topics. I loved actually how they went from the past, the present, the future. Curious what you guys think about that. And I thought it was cool how they used that play to kind of connect some of those missing pieces about their friendship that we didn't necessarily see. One of the weaker points of the whole season to me was just this whole Nate thing and Cassie. And I kind of feel like it's interesting, but I don't care about Nate anymore. I really, really don't. Like, I feel like Nate has become such a problem. And like, I get he's like the villain, but like, to me, some of the more interesting plots this season were Lexi and Fez, were Rue. Once she kind of like went over the edge, I was like, oh, where is this going with like the drug dealing and all that? Maddie, I thought Maddie was really interesting this season. Love Maddie. And I just kind of thought like the thing with Nate got a little bit tired. Cal, I really liked. But Nate and specifically Jules, those two kind of got tired for me. So what were some of the weaker points during the season for you guys?
I have to remind myself that this is still like 1 year, like they're still in their junior year, I'm pretty sure, or at least for most characters, they're still in their junior year. So I think one of the things I get confused on is just like how much time feels like has passed, but it hasn't. So that's where I get thrown off. I'm like, oh God, like, like I feel like these people have developed so much within like the past couple of months, and really it hasn't technically. Like they're still 17, 16. So it's like I kind of like get confused with the timeline with all this. I think that's kind of the thing I'm like the weak spot of it. I don't know if other people like agree with me, but like that was the one thing I just noticed.
Yeah, I do think the timeline was a little, especially the last episode. I was like, all right, you know, it was kind of a little all over the place. But it did. You're right though. It put in perspective how short of amount of time this all happened.
Exactly.
And it feels long because like there were so many crazy things happening. Like in this span of time, Rue had an intervention that kind of spiraled out of control. Nate got Cal was running around the city trying to find his missing suspect. Like, you know, so many things were happening and it feels so long.
Cal.
But I thought like one of the weaker points, I mean, you know, Kat's storyline, we all know it didn't really progress in this one. I'm pretty confident that they'll kind of circle back to that. She did leave a big cliffhanger in her. You know, I love the fact that you can kind of look at the psychology of the characters. And Kat is somebody who it's always it seems like a dominance over men. And and they kind of left it where the scales were tipped against her. So that's always going to be an interesting point. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I actually think Nate is also one of the most interesting characters, just because he's not completely, and they're also good at doing this, but he's not completely a bad person, even though but it's
that's like a big Euphoria hot take for some reason where you're like, oh, Cal's not that bad, or Nate's. It's like
right.
And that was kind of Rue's point that she made. I think it was episode 6 or 7, where she was like, you have empathy for me and you're looking at me like, oh my God, I have, but like someone on the street, you wouldn't, someone who did something wrong, you wouldn't. And I think that's kind of the whole point of it. It's like even like the worst people out there, like there's an intention that they had going in, or something that, you know, an environmental thing that might've happened that made them who they are today. And that doesn't excuse what they did, but it's like, it creates this kind of like paradox and kind of like complexity to the character to be like, they're not just all bad. It's just not all despicable. And I think one thing with Euphoria that I think is special is like, when you look at like a Riverdale, Gossip Girl, some of the classic teen dramas throughout American television, a lot of the time the characters are just kind of these cliches. It's like the jock is just a jock and he's mean because he wants the girl, but it's like, why is he thinking that? Why does he feel that way? Where does it come from? And I agree. I think Nate is interesting in that perspective, but when you get to the surface level plot of Nate, like, oh, like I want this girlfriend and kind of thing, like that stuff didn't really work for me. But yeah, you're right. The backstory was really strong. I did enjoy that.
The interesting part with him though is like, I wonder if we're gonna start to view him like we view Rue, in the sense of like, can he be a redeeming character? Which it seems like a stretch, but there's a possibility that could be there for him. But I think the absolute worst character this season was Ashtray, hands down. Absolutely no sympathy for that.
Excuse me, who?
Ashtray, 100%. 100%.
I just want to say that Tea Time and the Circle Club do not endorse this statement.
I'm 1,000%.
Wrong answer. Of course.
Listen. I think first off, R.I.P. to Ashtray. But I think what a lot of people forget about Ashtray is like he's a trained killer and he's like 9. He's legit like 10 years old. So like where you and I would have been like, yo, chill out, like don't do that. He's thinking like, these bad people are trying to hurt my brother. Like, and you gotta like remember, like, I don't know if you guys have siblings, but well, I do know you have siblings. I don't know why I said that, but like, I think I was trying to talk to YouTube a little bit there. You people out there, if you have siblings, but like when you have a sibling and like, if someone picks on your sibling, you just kind of get like real like tough and angry, like don't mess with my sister or don't mess with my brother. And I kind of think that's what it is with Ashtray. But go ahead. Why do you not like him or didn't feel him?
So I had a completely different impression on Ashtray. I you know, Ashtray, it was comical how he was like security, you know, he stuck up for his brother. but also at the same time, he was raised by his brother. And so, and I've always thought, okay, he's a little brother. Like he has enough respect for his brother to understand, like, all right, to listen. No, I know he didn't listen the first time, but I figured from that situation, it would be like, man, you got to listen. This is what we had to do in order to fix this situation. All right, let's not make sure this happens again. Then it happens again, and it escalates to a point where it's like, all right, now you really have to listen to me. Like, listen to me, and he's still not listening. No sympathy for that kid. No.
So no, but think about this, like the same way, until I'll let you cut in. But think about this. The same way you have that sort of empathy or feel for Nate, like, don't you think a kid who was literally raised like cattle from, like, he was a baby, legit newborn when they found him, and his whole world has been drugs, gun violence, gangsters, doing the security stuff. Like, I don't even like, does this guy even like watch TV? Like, does he kick back, relax? Like, he looks like he's always like stressed on. And then the one moment where he like didn't look, like he was on his phone going to the bathroom, like that, he let his guard down, and that like actually had consequences and stuff. So I just think he was just kind of raised to kill, and like there's this whole traumatic thing with him there too, where it's like he almost felt like, or the way I was interpreting it is like he almost felt like Fez has kind of gotten soft, like now he's talking to Lexi, and like, you know, he's being a little bit, you know, kinder, like look at him back there with like mucking it up with Faye. So and I think Asher's kind of like, I gotta be the muscle, because Fez is kind of the face of the brand, if you will. But Talia, what do you think?
No, I agree. I just like, I'm still mixed about my feelings towards Ashtray. Like, obviously, like, you know, he's there to protect. I feel like that's what his upbringing led to this moment. But at the same time, like, he's done bad things. Like killing someone, that's a bad thing. I can't, I'm trying to recall like why he killed Mouse. I think that's his name in season 1. Like, I'm trying to remember why that happened again.
He just went up and did it once he realized that it was it was a setup.
Because Mouse was trying to set them up, and he was honestly it was kind of necessary a little bit,
but he could have approached it maybe a different way.
I thought Mouse, I really think Mouse was like gonna like kill Fez or like or something.
No, he was completely setting him up, like, so that's why the police came so quick, because they were
no, I'm sorry. I was referring to season 1.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Mouse, not
that's Mouse. Okay, all right. I thought the kid on the couch was Mouse.
No, the kid on the couch.
It's Custard or something.
Custard.
What kind of name is that? I'm sorry, I'm offending people named Custard. That's weird.
How many Custards are out there watching? Oh man. One thing I wanted to bring up with you guys, and this is like, again, a little bit of a hot take, but a lot of people were upset that Kat didn't get screen time this season. They were upset that Kat didn't get screen time. They thought Maddie kind of got slighted. They thought that a couple, like Jules' story was on the side. A lot of people were upset that Elliot got as much screen time as he did. And what I'm curious is, because I started thinking about that, right? And I was like, so everyone keeps mentioning that, Kat wasn't in it. But one, if the actress didn't want to do those scenes, like, it seemed like she had some issues with Sam Levinson, like what could they have done there? And that's also another very modern thing now too, where like actors and actresses feel they have a say in like how the production is done. Because in my opinion, I kind of feel like you're there to like make the story come alive, not really, you're not a writer. So True. I feel like you really shouldn't have a ton of say in that. I mean, if the role isn't right for you, or there's something inappropriate in it, or whatever, but I'm sure she knew before she signed onto the contract, like what the situation was. So that's one thing. The second thing is, I feel like when they elevate some of the side characters, it works and it doesn't. So like they elevated Lexi as a side character and that worked. When they elevated Elliot, it was kind of like, this is too much and it doesn't really work. So I'm curious, like, what you guys think about that. Like, would Kat's story really have even been worth telling this season with a lot of these other things? Like, what we have, because we would have lost time with something, right? So what would you have sacrificed maybe to get more Kat? Because I don't know how much Kat would have potentially brought this season based on the direction that they went.
Right.
I was thinking about that. I was like, because when I was watching like episodes from season 1 today, I was like, Kat got a lot of screen time, like a lot.
Yeah.
Like she definitely was up there with like main characters.
Right.
Not that like obviously that's like like a bad thing over those side characters, but like you have to think about it like. I mean, maybe I'm thinking it weird, but like people need to have equal screen time within this show. Sometimes maybe, writers or directors want to focus a certain plot on certain characters. Like it's not like that's going to always be the case. Like what if season 3 we come back to, Kat or McKay or something like that. Like I feel like people are just jumping on to like the whole like oh, they didn't get any screen time and like why did he get more screen time than her? And it's like like we're introducing new people, folks. Like they need to get some screen time to develop the story. And I'm sorry his 4-minute like song had to be that one shining moment. Like like it had to.
The song was beautiful. I thought it was beautiful.
Too long. Also, shout out to Zendaya and Labyrinth for like
they wrote the song.
Writing that song. I was like, all right.
Wow.
yeah, I know. Honestly, round of applause for Zendaya this season. I was talking to producer Carly about this. I was like, dude, this girl this season, the way she was acting, like I didn't know that you could act sad in so many different ways. She has happy sad, she got sad, depressed sad, I'm gonna kill myself sad, I want an extra cookie sad, I love you, puppy eye sad. Like she really went, like the range was crazy, man.
It was crazy.
They put that to the test by giving her a whole episode, and she completely like it is easily the best episode this season. Like easily.
Which one did you think?
The episode, Zendaya's episode. Like
okay.
Though there's also some unresolved facts with the accident happening, her getting chased by the cops. You know, there's so many things that were left
those are plot holes to me. Those are plot holes because there has to be consequences for like an action that you take like that. So those are plot holes to me. That's not unresolved. Those are plot holes.
100%.
But I think the thing is too is like, so I don't know, like for me, the way I'm watching this, I kind of accept some of the plot holes. It frustrates me because I'm like, but at the same time, I'm like, why does, her not getting caught by the cops or anything upset me? But like, I don't know, like Cal never getting to reach out to his long loved friend not upset me. Like there's just little things where it's like, like I'm sure to some viewers who like really want to see, I want Cal to get back to his lover or like be happy. I'm sure some people wanted to see Ethan and Kat have a follow-up conversation when she just wronged him. That was the worst thing I've ever seen in the history of television. She had a lot
of people wanted to see Fez go to the play. 100%.
You know, exactly. So there's a lot of things, but I was kind of thinking too. I was like, well, this show is weird. Where it tries to put you into the situation a lot and make you feel what the characters are feeling, and I kind of think part of being those characters too is like a lot of unresolved things happen where you don't necessarily know. And like also Rue is the narrator. So if it's from her perspective, maybe she just doesn't know what happened with some of those situations. Because the way I interpret the whole Euphoria story is Rue got clean and then she's looking back, telling the story of her life and like what happened.
And you know what's the perfect setup of that? She literally saw her friend Lexi do it, and then she was asking at the end.
Yes.
She was asking at the end, how do I get to that place?
Yes.
I can see that. Yeah.
So that's exactly why I've been saying for the longest. I'm like, this is Sam Levinson. And I think it was you, Talia, who mentioned how like Lexi is a writer, and you were like, maybe Lexi will tell like Rue's story for her or something like that. And we talked a lot too, like on our episode 7 preview, where we were like this play is going to make them realize things about themselves. Yes. Do you think ultimately that was the case?
I think so. Yeah, because like I feel like, we can't like with Rue being like the main person in the show, we can't always like rely on her words. She even admits that in season 1, like you can't always, my narration might be wrong, but take that with a grain of salt, a perspective of what's going on. I think with Lexi's play, she was able to really show different lenses of what might have, or at least what looked like was going on in different people's eyes, and that really helped a lot of folks like kind of see like, oh, like that did look a little weird when Cassie was on that carousel, or like, oh, that was like a sweet moment at Rue's funeral with the girls when it really was a sad thing. But like I think the play overall was really like eye-opening for most folks, I hope.
Yeah, and shout out to Ethan too, because he absolutely crushed it. One sec, guys, let me let Carly into the chat here. Carly wants to pop in. So
Carly,
hey,
there she is, our queen.
Producer Carly. Change a name.
Oh yeah, I didn't even change my name.
Yeah.
Welcome, Carly.
Hi,
Carly.
Hey, Carly.
hello, everybody.
So we were just talking about the play. What we thought about it, and kind of things to take from it and all. And I was just asking, like, do you think that the characters really learned from the play?
A little bit. Yeah, because I think they learned about like what each other was going through at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like how Rue especially like realized how much like her friend does care about her. I think that they did a really good job of like of showing their friendship in the play, like Rue and Lexi, and how although it faded out for a while, like he still cared about her. So I think that was the major lesson in the play.
Yeah, I think you try to get your camera horizontal.
Yeah,
you probably have to unlock it. But yeah, no, I think I agree. I think that you got, there you go. Yeah, I think like that was one of the like big takeaways for me too, was that Lexi and Rue still cared about each other, and it was kind of a lost relationship. And when you think about the friend group, really what it is Lexi and Rue, and then I think Lexi, her sister is Cassie, so then Cassie was friends with I'm blanking.
Maddie.
Maddie, thank you. Yeah, Maddie, and that's kind of how they all came together. Honestly, even Jules, like Talia, you mentioned this, how Jules is technically, she was friends with Kat. Like a lot of people forget that.
Yeah,
that's true.
But she just kind of got left in the dust, and so it definitely was a reminder, I thought, about the friendship.
I always forget that they're all friends at the end. Like
I love the scenes where they just come together like that.
Yeah.
And they make it feel natural. I love those scenes
like
so
that,
much.
like that iconic bathroom scene where Cassie has like her freak out.
Or
freak out.
But speaking of Cassie got done, well, between Cassie and Nate in that play, they got done the worst because Cassie never really had like a reflective moment. It was Maddie's reflective moment because Maddie did this for Lexi. I mean, I don't think they really had Kat that much in the play. Rue, of course, very reflective. But Cassie, it was just the worst of Cassie on the stage. So,
but at the same time, those were her actions. So if those actions to her were not how she wants to be perceived or her reflection, then I think that's kind of when she has to kind of think about that, right? Like, this is who, and not necessarily that's who she is, but this is how my sister sees me. Like, this is someone who's supposed to love me unconditionally, and this is how she sees me.
But and I'm wondering, and now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think the answer is yes. But does Cassie have like any sort of like nice qualities, like as far as like as a friend? I can't recall a moment where Cassie was a good friend. But
no. I mean, she was honestly, like I was saying this before, she was honestly pretty horrible to McKay as well. Like McKay was kind of being reasonable about like the whole pregnancy thing, and he didn't really he wasn't like, I ain't gonna have this baby. He's just like, what are we talking about? Like, we're like 17 or 18. Like, I'm trying to go off to college. Like, you haven't even finished school. Like, and she just wasn't hearing it. She was hysterical, and all this stuff. When you look at how she was with Nate, she literally was just copying Maddie. I still can't like believe like that's how you do that to your friend. That's crazy. There's also seemed to me, Talia, you mentioned this before, it seemed like there might have been some sort of like racial undertones to her towards Maddie. Because I think, didn't Maddie say something at something like when she was like fighting her and she's like, you racist beep, and like so I don't know. I don't, to answer your question, there has to be some redeeming qualities, but I think overall it's just she's kind of just privileged and sheltered and doesn't really realize that, because someone on stage called her racist when she was talking about like Afghanistan or whatever. Like, we have real problems. Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So, but Talia, what were you gonna say?
I completely forgot.
No.
Go, Carly.
I was gonna say, like, at the same time, we all hate Cassie, but there was one thing that she said that stuck out to me during when she crashed the play, and she was like, "Lexi, you haven't even lived. Like, what are you talking about?
Yes.
Like, at least I've lived. It's hard to judge, like, when you haven't done anything." I was like, that is so true. Like,
that was a great moment.
It was.
That was a great line.
That was and that's what kind of tipped the scales for me, because I was like, who are you, Lexi, to be doing this? Going.
Honestly, Fez.
I was gonna say, like, I mean, she has lived through moments with people. I mean, I don't know per se like what her own problems is now, but like I feel like that counts as like living through, you know, her friends.
Cassie meant the risk. Like like Lexi is always taking the safe road. She's never taken any risks, and that's where she was like, this play was that was her attempting to take a big risk, which is kind of interesting in that sense. But that's where Cassie was like, how do you get off going off doing this when you've never even tried to do anything?
Gotcha.
I mean, but to Talia's point too, it's like, you know, just her being friends with them by association, she is kind of experiencing some of that. I think that was the reason why I love that bar so much. Like, it really was a bar, is because it was like you have this side character, Lexi, right, who wants to put herself and propel herself into, hey, I want to be the main character. But it's like, you don't got main character energy. And I think that's a big, and I love Lexi. I love Lexi. But like, I think that's a big thing with people in real life, where it's like a lot of people like, oh, let me get on the camera and be on YouTube. Let me be Instagram and like put my whole life out there and all that stuff. But it's like, do you realize what like that actually means to like do something like that and like put yourself out there and be vulnerable? And like, I don't think a lot of people realize that. They want it by association, but not kind of like the cons that go with it. And I think about something like even like simple per se, like drinking or smoking at a high school party. Like if you go to that party and you're sitting there, but you're not drinking and smoking, there is like levels to the risk that you're taking. And she kind of seems like she was always like a fly on the wall, but not necessarily getting to the action. And I think she was almost kind of being like, hey, like I wasn't invited to the table for this action. And I think Cassie's kind of being more like, you were always there, you just didn't take that action. You weren't about that life. So,
but interestingly enough, like Rue isn't a main character, doesn't give main character energy too. I mean, she's the main character of the story, but if you think about in the friend group, she's not really somebody that's like, oh, like I'm contributing to this conversation. Big deal. She's more like Lexi, which is so great. Like how they just came together at the end even more because
that's why this story is so special to me. Is because it's you're telling a story from the side characters, or like the people who aren't like loud. Like we've seen that story so much. Like I was saying with the Riverdales and all these other 13 Reasons Why. What did you think about the final scene where Rue and oh god, what do you guys think about the final scene with Rue and Jules where they're in the auditorium together? Because I was kind of getting like Cookie from Empire vibes, where it was like, I gotta put me first, Lucius, I gotta put me first. Like she wanted to give her some love, but she was like, I can't. So what were you all thinking about that?
Luna wanted to comment.
I kind of like that she did that. I'm kind of glad she did, because like why? I mean, why waste more of your energy on this girl when you're not ready to like, you know, commit to this? I probably would have done the same thing. I don't know if I would have kissed her. I feel like that's just like still stringing her along with what's going on. But I feel like for Rue, you know, she wants to forgive, but like, you know, it doesn't fully take up, you know, like you need to take baby steps to really get there. It doesn't just happen like that. So that's
and defense of Rue, that final kiss when you like about to break up with someone or it's not gonna work, and you just like it's like you're holding on to dear life, and that's what that kiss was to me. It was kind of like a boy, do I love you, but you might not be right for me, you know. And that's how I saw it. Do you go, Carly?
I kind of saw it like parallel to the Cassie and Maddie situation, because the only thing that made me think of it was I was paying attention to their eyeliner at the time, and both of their eyeliner was like the same style and it was green. So I was like, I noticed that right away and I was like, what is the symbolism here? But I think it was kind of for both of them like a forgiveness almost, and like a second chance. I don't know what green symbolizes in movie and TV, but I wonder if that has anything to do with it, because they were both kind of.
That's a really. Luna's got a lot to say. Carly, that's a great point. And the makeup artists, specifically, they were tasked this season to kind of have the makeup represent certain things and tell a story. And green represents growth, renewal, like spring and a rebirth. And so that makes a ton of sense.
They also mentioned that like the blue in their eyeshadow, how Kat started to mimic that from Maddie. You kind of see that like now they're starting to become best friends. Now they're getting closer.
Yeah, and blue also represents like a freedom and openness, inspiration. And I think Maddie kind of felt that as well. Like it's very intentional. If you go back and watch the show, and this is kind of what I was saying at the top of the show, is that when you watch the show from like a visual communication standpoint and you pick up some of these symbolisms, I think it's a different trip for some people who kind of miss some of these things. And there's nothing like the average viewer can do, because it's like either something you kind of know or you don't. Maybe that could be like a fun little video we make on TikTok or so, where we kind of break down what some of the colors mean, because that's a very cool point.
But on to the Jules and Rue situation. It's weird because I the dynamic that a lot of people have between Rue and Jules, like who's wrong, who's right. It seems to Jules is like MVP on my list as far as like great people in this season.
Really?
Huge, because that argument that she had with Rue, when Rue was freaking out and she was just like, I love you. And then she kept going, I love you. And literally her first line of Rue when she sat down, I just wanted to let you know I love you. Like Jules has just kind of been like a totem. And I get it, like for Rue to kind of like just dive right back into Jules is to it's just to fall into the same pattern. And for her to be aware of that is huge. But I don't think Jules falls into that forgiveness category. Jules falls into that apology category. And I think she knows, like Rue knows that. It's huge because she she goes and talks about it. Jules is my first true love. I'm not too sure. I was high through most of it. But
yes.
Like, I'm glad you pointed that out too.
Exactly.
But Jules holds significance to her. And it was clear, like they made it clear in the end of the last season that it was enough to kind of damage her, and that's where I draw the line on it, like as far as like where Jules becomes a problem, but that's not even Jules' fault. So that's why like Jules is not a problem to me at all.
So however, the thing about addiction and like when you're sad or going through something is you can't attach yourself to someone else for that source of happiness. And I thought that was a very important step for Rue to take and realize. And she mentioned it too in season 1, at the end of season 1, she mentioned in season 2, that like, you know, every time we're together, it's like this, it lets me have this comfort. And I think Jules is low-key a little bit of an enabler in that sense, because it's like, Talia, you were saying a few episodes ago, you're like, well, I mean, I kind of think it's a little messy to bring alcohol around your friend who is an addict, you know, and to allow, what's his name? Not Ethan. Elliot to be smoking, thank you, cigarettes and all that. Like, why are you even allowing that behavior? And she can't control her, Rue's her own person. But, you know, at the same time, if the person you love, and this is obviously difficult with addiction, but if the person you love sets, hey, enough, I will not be with you if you're doing this, you're giving them that decision to make of, but she just kind of kept enabling it because Jules herself needs to be loved by people. She needs that comfort. And boy, oh boy, do I pray Rue never finds out about Elliot and Jules. I mean, that just,
I don't think she'd care.
Like, same. I feel like she wouldn't do anything.
You guys don't think so?
No.
Not like Maddie crazy, but like
exactly.
Like, I think that would really, I don't know if it would send her over the edge. I think it could hurt her a lot because she was like in a very vulnerable state, and Jules, like I said, Jules is her rock. So for her to be like messing around with Elliot that whole time, while like, I mean, she wasn't feeling anything, to be honest, during that period. She was so high, so it's possible that she wouldn't care. But there is like, I don't know, there's a sense to me where I'm thinking like there's a level of loyalty probably when she does get cleaned up that she's gonna like really want, you know?
I think that if the writers get really bored, then they might bring it up again, but I don't think it'll be on.
I hope not.
That's what I'm saying. I hope they take that to the grave, seriously.
I was gonna say too, before we move on, I saw a tweet. It was saying how the first season ended with Jules walking away from Rue, and this time it ended with Rue walking away from Jules. And so I wonder what the last episode of season 3 will be. Will they come together? Will they walk away from each other forever? Like, any predictions?
And that's a great segue, producer Carly, as we jump into season 3 and what is next. So just go ahead and let's answer Carly's question there. Like, where do you think their relationship is heading?
I think I hope it ends in a reintroduction. Like I hope, you know, Rue really takes this season to kind of like dive more into her sobriety and really like capture it. And I got a big prediction that kind of came out of this one, but we'll get to that.
What about you, Talia?
I really don't want them to be together.
Tea time is pretty anti-Rue and Jules being together.
Many reasons why, but like I don't know. Now that I'm rewatching like season 1, and we kind of saw it briefly season 2, like her connection with Nate, it was like there, like kind of like floating around. We didn't really like acknowledge it in season 2 at all, just because of you know, Nate, Cassie, and Maddie. But like I think that last part of season 2 was like that gateway of like, this might happen season 3 between Nate and Jules. So I feel like something like that might happen, but I really don't know how that will, you know, intertwine with Rue into this. Like,
ladies and gentlemen, that's why Talia is my co-host on Tea Time. I'm feeling the same exact way. I feel the same exact way. I think I know that the writers, I'm thinking about this just from like a writing standpoint and production. I know they want Rue and Jules to be these iconic love duo. We saw them do it when they had that whole montage of them together. But it feels so forced, and it feels like they genuinely don't know a ton about each other. It feels that like their relationship is just built on the idea of each other, because Jules needs someone to be there and love her, and Rue needs someone who actually believes in her. So what I will say is kind of a little bit of a twist. I think Jules in season 3 is going to meet Rue for the first time. Like, I don't think she's really met Rue, because she's been high this whole time, and like she's been this different person. I think she's going to get to meet Rue for the first time in season 3.
Okay. I am curious about like like where they will start off in season 3. Like, will there be like a time jump from like that ending to later? Like you saw at the ending, she was like, "Oh, I stayed sober for the rest of the school year." I don't think they're gonna show us that because they just told us.
Right.
So what do you guys think? Because I'm curious of this too. Like, do we jump into the next generation with Gia and Lexi? Lexi's a year younger than them. Are there new kids? Do we get a new crew? So maybe we do like a quick rapid fire. Like, what do you guys think? Will it jump? Will it stay the same, or will we go to next generation? Carly, what do you think?
I think it's gonna stay the same. I think because of the pandemic and the way that they had to shoot things and it's so like felt so far apart, people really fell in love with the actors. I think they might keep the same cast for that reason, but I don't know how it would work because they are different years, so I don't know how they would follow all of them.
I don't think we're gonna see a lot of Gia screen time. I hope we don't. Nothing against her. I don't know. We found out she was doing bad in class, and I was like, "Oh, she's doing bad. All right, let's keep moving."
Girl needs a tutor.
Kind of makes me think of Skins though, like where Tony's sister, what's her name? Effie. She took over. Like she was starting to do bad at the end and all that as well.
Yeah.
So.
But I do think.
Sorry, Yao.
Oh no, that's all right. I think Lexi and Rue are gonna kind of flip flop. I think Lexi is gonna develop a drug addiction, or
what?
Yeah.
Hot take alert.
I told you what. In the
you heard it here, folks.
You heard it first. I think so because it just seems like all right. So she was smoking weed with
Yo, you kind of sound like a boomer or something. She was smoking weed and now she's
smoking a gram of marijuana with that Fesco. And you know marijuana, it's a gateway drug. So
oh no.
So I think with everything that happened with Fez, her one true love, she's gonna fall into this space. And I think she might develop an addiction on her own, and we'll see how that will
be the next Lori.
That's funny that you just chose the word. It's funny that you chose the word like next her true love, because like they're all in high school, like like I was talking about this with Carly yesterday, where it was like, isn't it so funny how you look back at high school and you thought you were so in love with this person, you were with them for a year, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, and you're like, oh my god, I'm so in love. But like you look back and you're like, that was like puppy love, and like you barely knew who they were. So like part of me kind of feels and wonders, I'm like, does Lexi just kind of move on, and or does Rue move on, and like are they allowed to just fall in love with someone else, or do you think we have to stick with these same characters?
That's a great point.
Also, like, where will Fez be in the next season? Will he be in jail? Will he be in the hospital? Will he be alive?
Won't let me out.
All right, guys, I had to be somewhere real quick.
No, it's okay.
Can I answer that question that you asked? I don't think they're gonna jump into a new generation. I think they're still gonna continue that. I do think that they do have because now that I'm seeing like a couple of episodes of season 1, there are like some people that were introduced that are on the younger side that could be used for seasons later on, like McKay's twins brothers. Like I forgot about them.
Oh they were funny too.
Wait, he had a twin brother?
No, his brothers were twins.
His younger brothers were twins.
Remember, they were trying to get with Kat.
Did they? I thought they did, or one of them did.
No, they didn't.
No, they were trying. They were in that bedroom, and they were like, "Kat, do this."
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But she chased them for because they leaked the video, and she chased one of them to delete it. I thought it was because they recorded it.
No. Yeah, so I mean, and that's what Talia. That's what's interesting about this show, and that's what I keep saying over and over. Is like these side characters. Some of them can be elevated to have like these really interesting stories that we haven't seen from like the high school coming of age kind of thing. Like everyone keeps talking about Kat, and like again, I think Kat could have had an interesting story based on where it was in the previous season. Like how many people really know someone who like has like an OnlyFans and like is like running this like whole thing online, and she's got this like Tumblr / like fantasy thing on. Like there was this whole interesting like kind of internet modern thing that they had, and then they just cut it. And so to me, now that they've cut that portion and we're not really getting to see what is happening with Kat there, I'm like, what story is there to tell with Kat?
I think Kat developing real emotions and like genuinely finding love, because her perspective of love is so warped because she found it in that way. And so like that's my biggest interest in her storyline. If they dive into that and like the whole situation with Ethan, you know, maybe find somebody else, but maybe they talk and like kind of talk through like what he felt were like some down points, what she felt, you know, like become healthy out of it. That would be amazing.
We wanted to, like Talia and I were saying in our season 2 prediction video, we were like, we hope to see some solutions and like healthy relationship discussions and therapy and all these things. And we didn't get any of that. And I
not
think
on Euphoria.
So someone commented, they were like, really? You guys gonna see that? Come on, man. And I was like, I do. Like, I mean, you can still have some characters be messy. Not everyone heals at the same time, but like at some point, it's like, all right, Rue, you keep running into the wall. Either you gotta die or you gotta learn from it. And that's what her mom was saying. It was like, I can't take care of you anymore. I mean, this is out of control. There's nothing I can do anymore. And her telling Elliot, you kind of saved my life. Like, and the only way you can really overcome an addiction is hitting rock bottom and looking at yourself in the face and being like, I'm a loser, or this isn't happening anymore, or like, who have I become? And I think she may have had that moment. To me, I swear, as a viewer, if Rue relapses one more time after all of this, and she starts going back to, and we have to watch the same thing, as a viewer, you've lost me, because we've seen this pony in real life. In real life, it's expected, right? But like, this is a TV show, and she's been addicted since she was 12 or 10. So it's like she's relapsed enough at this point where it's like, okay, this has to be rock bottom. So do you guys think she's gonna relapse again? Do you guys think that she's gonna get clean? How do you think that affects the other characters? What are some of your thoughts?
I'm glad you brought that up, because when I was watching season 1 again, I was like, oh my God, like I can't imagine, like, because she's having difficulties going through like not doing drugs and then relapsing. I'm like, this kind of is gonna get boring after a while. I mean, this is real life. This is what happens to folks. I don't want to say it's boring. It's you know, it's something people struggle with. But like as a plot line, like I don't know. I don't see it like continuing on, and I don't want them to like keep milking it throughout future seasons if we still have her on. But I really hope this is the last time we'll see her ever, you know, sober up, or at least relapse, and then, you know, now we're seeing her, you know, finally live life as a sober person. But yeah, I don't know, I just can't see it happen again. I don't want to go through that pain.
And before someone else jumps in, I just want to say, like, I think another thing too, again, we talk about these teen drama shows, how many times have you seen a show where someone has redeemed themselves and like actually like been a part of society, and like kind of like it wasn't like this kind of corny cliche thing of like, oh, I went to church and got better, or like, oh, I go to rehab and like I go to Alcoholics Anonymous like, I think that's what could be kind of cool about the show, is like Sam Levinson can show how he did it and like different methods, and I think a lot of people don't even know that. So it's like, you know, potentially me watching that could be like, oh, I never thought about it from that perspective. Like one line Lexi had said that was really interesting, was she was like, when I did marijuana, it made me think of all these different bad thoughts. But when Rue does it, it makes her feel good. And for me, I smoke weed. I have no problem saying that on the live. And like for me, it makes me feel good. It makes me, you know, calm, whatever. But I had never even like really thought about it from that other person's perspective of like, wow, people start acting like having psychosis when they smoke weed. Like, it's just weed, you know? And like the same thing probably happens when people drink, when people, you know, have a tough breakup. And I think just showing those like different sides of how different people experience life. I think that's really important. So, yeah.
I think. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I just think this kind of is the reason why I feel like Lexi might develop a drug addiction. Back to this theory, because I think this is an opportunity for Rue to realize what she was saying at the end, which is like you kind of got to give it a reason. And this is purely because it could be a good plot line. But if Lexi develops a drug problem and then Rue is able to kind of like be her Ali in a sense, then it's kind of that's full circle. Like that's like, all right, now she's really gotten the hang of the sobriety. Yes. Otherwise, what's her marker to say like, oh, you know, she's really doing the sober stuff and like she's
listen, like, I don't like to shut down people's ideas, but like this Lexi getting addiction thing, man, like
yeah,
I gotta keep you away from the writers of Euphoria.
I can see it more with like Elliot because he's more into drugs, but like Lexi, you know, anything could happen. So
anything's possible.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Lexi still being interested in Fez and like trying to be there for him and all that, because like she comes from like, I guess you could say a broken home, right? Is that the correct thing to say?
Oh yeah.
And so like I don't think she would be necessarily judgmental. I mean, she knows what world he's involved in and all that, and she didn't really care. And one thing we had spoken about, Talia and I, was like, it's kind of refreshing and nice to see them put opposites attracting, because I like a lot of relationships. I don't think people realize a lot of relationships literally are opposites, just, and that's how it works. Like if you're with someone who's too similar to you, one, you get bored. Two, you're not learning a lot from each other. So you're not really like experiencing life. And for some reason in TV shows and movies, it's always like, I went to Juilliard, he went to Juilliard. We both went to the same art class. And I'm like, I don't know too many relationships where people are like similar. What do you guys think about that? Like the whole Lexi and Fesco, like in the next season thing.
I got to say a theory.
You gotta say a theory? Is that
same theory is not gonna work?
But my thing about it is like, I think it's gonna be too, like, it's a huge thing for Lexi. Like Fez was, like you said, the opposite. And it was like, he was danger, he was risk at the highest extent.
Yeah.
And that house is clearly like gonna be cleared out. So I know for sure, like, you know, at first I was like, or maybe she's gonna pick up like on a Griselda, like she's gonna be the plug of East Highland and take up for Fez while he's locked up. But I know the SWAT team completely cleared that house out. Grandma's in a home somewhere, probably a hospice. Like everything's out of that house, so that's not happening. But I do think that Lexi is like, that is too much of a trauma for Lexi to like just kind of like face off. She might not need drugs for it. She might not, but I think that it's right there, like as an avenue.
Carly, what do you think?
If Lexi and Fesco are gonna be together?
Yeah, like what happens with them next season?
I kind of think that they'll have like some sort of pen pal relationship, if anything, and maybe she'll be the narrator of the next season. Because I'm just thinking about Rue and how she's the narrator. Like, if she doesn't relapse, I feel like her whole identity in the show is kind of the drug addict. And like, what else are they gonna make about her? But so they have to either fade her out, or they have to kind of like give her a new addiction or something else to like we were kind of talking about, Tara and I were talking about like, what if she starts writing or I don't know, something like that. But I think maybe Lexi will become more of the narrator of the show, and it'll be told through their love story or something. I don't know.
That's interesting.
That'd be nice. I'd like that.
It also brings this dynamic too about like the justice system, and there's little, I don't know if you guys noticed, there's little hints throughout the show where they kind of like talk about police brutality and like the justice system and all that. So it could be like a little interesting plot to see like Fesco as a prisoner, like what's that world like, what's that life like. But we have to talk about this because we haven't talked about it yet. Lori plot line. Where is that going?
I thought of something.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, Lori's connected to Fez. I wonder if Lori will find Lexi.
As collateral.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna defend Lori a little bit here.
What?
I think. I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think drug dealers necessarily go after people's family.
She said she knows some bad people who will do bad.
I know,
things.
but it's not like Lexi and him are married or anything. Like it might it's a love interest for him, but like I don't know, like that would she clearly doesn't even know where Rue lives, so that kind of seems like a stretch. That because Fez isn't on social media or anything like that.
I feel like she knows where Rue lives. I feel like she knows everything about Rue, and she's just waiting for the right time.
Or she has
like all that what power. She's gonna do.
Yeah, potentially, I can see that. But Fez ain't on social media. I don't think, honestly, I don't even know if the friends know Lexi and Fez are talking like that. So
that's true too. Yeah.
That's true.
So it could be kind of under the radar. And I think this too is like as funny as or interesting as it could be to see Lexi go down the drug path. She's too valuable of a character. She's too valuable of a character, I think, to just throw her into that world because she's kind of the pureness of it. Someone wrote here on YouTube there on our live, it says a lot of people wanted Rue and Lexi to be a thing. Lori did mention human trafficking to Rue. You still got something that guys want. So do you think that will kind of come back into play?
Yes.
I hope not. That scared the living daylights out of me.
Dude, I literally was waiting, at the ending with Rue. She's just like, dee. I was waiting for a car to pull up and just kidnap her. I was just waiting. Luckily, it didn't happen. But
yeah, that locked door at Lori's house, people are theorizing that there's like a girl in there or something like that, which would be terrible.
Yeah.
The
Euphoria.
I feel like that might be a little bit too crazy for them to write. Like that seems a bit off limits, but I don't know.
The Euphoria theories are legitimately out of control. Like what? Maybe rapid fire. Like what's like one of the craziest theories that you guys have heard? One for me was that Ashtray was Cal's son.
Oh yeah, that just didn't match up.
Yeah.
That was the craziest to me. Like I was like, it doesn't even make sense.
yeah. Like it's like that whole thing was pretty wild. There was theories that like Cal had assaulted Nate. What do you guys think about that one? Because I kind of have a theory myself.
Oh, we didn't even I forgot about that part.
So there's this whole, let me kind of set up a little bit, I suppose. So there was this whole thing when Nate is sitting with his mom. That was one of my favorite scenes in this whole series, by the way.
Yeah.
That was such an authentic sitting with your mom kind of conversation. Definitely from the male perspective, at least. But what did you guys think she was talking about when she was like, and like there was kind of this like unspoken thing, and it feels like Nate's been holding on to this unspoken thing throughout his life. And for a long time, I thought it was this really big thing, but I kind of think I figured it out. But what do you think it is?
I think he mentioned it. I think it was just like him finding his dad's tapes. I don't know, because his mom said it was like, oh, when you were like 8 or 9 or something. Yeah. Then he said he was 11. So I don't know if that really matches up.
I agree with Carly. I feel like it's that moment when he found his dad's tapes, because I don't know if the mom knows about the tapes.
Yeah.
But I think now she does she?
No, I don't think she knows about the tapes.
Well, now
yeah.
Well, now she probably will find out.
Oh,
but
boy, man.
I
That's gonna be a mess.
I think that was probably the moment that she was kind of, trying to get out of him, like, oh, that did happen to you. And I think that was like that point, like, okay, Nate's gonna change from watching this.
I think Nate might be bi or gay or something, and that's really like the underlying thing that he's holding on to. One thing that I noticed, because I went back and watched some of the season 1 episodes, Talia, was that when Nate is watching the video and his dad is performing with someone, they call him daddy. So I think psychologically, if he was watching that video and he was like, oh yeah, come on, daddy, I think that kind of screwed his head, because he was like, wait, daddy, like, is he gonna do that to me? Is he, did he do that to my brother? Like, you know, so I think that was kind of, and because we all know, like, people just say, oh, daddy, like, it's just kind of like this like sexual thing, but for a young child, that's probably like, whoa, what is happening? Like, that's very weird and confusing. So I think that, and then you see when he has the flashback memories, or like we get to see his nightmare, that Cal is on top of him. And so I think that kind of was something that was just sitting with him as a kid and kind of traumatized him. And ultimately, I think that is what kind of has made him who he is and hurt him. But I still, like, maybe I can't quite understand it fully. So I'm curious what you guys think. How does that, like, him seeing that tape as a kid, how would it affect him to become this, who he is today, like this quote unquote evil villain? Like, what was it about those actions do you think really stuck with him and traumatized him?
I think in detail, probably what you were saying, like, you know, like he was seeing these like the hookers that his dad was picking up, calling him daddy and this and that.
Yeah.
The nightmares, they mentioned the fact that it was reoccurring. So like when we saw it in that scene with Cassie, that wasn't the first time that he's envisioned that it's a consistent thing, which to me, it made it more that scene with Cal was his attempt of like vanquishing that demon and like completely just getting rid of it, which I don't think he might ever really get rid of it. I think a person that could help him though is Jules.
So what do you all think? We got about 10 minutes left here, unless you guys got more things to keep going. But what do you guys think is going to happen now that we know Cal has gotten locked up and Jules, it's going to get plastered everywhere now? Like, yeah, he was with this minor. That was the whole thing that he probably got arrested for. I mean, you can get arrested for hookers and stuff too, but I imagine it's the Jules thing. So how do you think that's going to affect Jules in the next season?
I was going to say, like, it would be when, I was just talking about Nate and Jules, like, yeah, there's potential for them, but now that he lied to her and said this is not going to go anywhere, but he did save it, he turned it in, like, I think it's going to cause a rift.
But I wonder if she'll even find out if that's why, because it's not like the police are going to be like, yeah, we got this tape, here you go, everybody. Like,
no,
because they might contact her.
No, because she broke the disc.
She did, but he gave the cops a USB drive.
But we don't know if he put
we don't know what's on it.
Yeah, we don't know if he put Jules' video on there.
But I would imagine that Jules' video has to be on there, because if Cal, I don't think they would arrest him for some hookers. To be completely blunt with it, like, I think like he might get a little bit of trouble. Like, maybe he has to pay a fine. Let me know in the comments if I'm completely off bases. I think what would really trigger them to be like, you're getting arrested, is like the underage sex thing. And I think that would also be kind of like this token that the writers can keep in their backhand to be like, she's like, how did they find out about this? You told me that you deleted the tapes. And they could be like, I didn't, like, no, like, it must have gotten out somehow, some way. And then it becomes at some point, oh, Jules and Nate are together. And then what breaks them apart is he has to admit that it was him.
The Euphoria writers are keeping too many tokens in their back pockets. They need to bank them in, because people are getting annoyed that they're not finishing following through with those plot lines.
Yeah.
It's too many tokens.
Yeah, we talked about that at the beginning before you hopped in, how like it's like there's so many of these holes, and it's like, fill some of these, please fill. But I think that's kind of part of it, is that like it gives them the ability to kind of, if they wanted, they can go off to Gia, they can go off to Lexi, they can go off to McKay's brothers, you know, like they don't really have to get after it. But all right, so we're about to wrap this up. So what prediction do you have for next season? What's one prediction that you're like, I feel like this has to happen? And also, do you think, so Talia and I were talking about this. We saw, is Ash really dead? Did he really die? We know we saw the little thing on him, but we didn't actually get to see his body taken out, which in the writer's world, you never know because it's another token. Yeah. So do we think Ash really died? Do we think Fez is going to really get in jail? Do you think Lori's going to happen? What's going to happen, Rue? Like, what's some of the predictions? Go ahead.
I just asked too, like, what do you think? Is Faye going to show up in the next season too?
Yeah, what is she going to do without Fez? That's true.
Is she going to jail too?
She probably will be like involved because she was complicit and stuff, but shout out to that actress who it was a very small scene in the kitchen, but I was like, oh wow, she can actually kind of hold her a little weight here. She did pretty solid. But yeah, any predictions that we have for next season?
I really think that they'll probably dive back into Kat's story a little bit more. Mm-hmm. I think that Nate and Cassie is going to develop, like, and because Maddie kind of set out an Omen, so that's going to spiral out of control, probably similar to what she has going on. I think Maddie's got to take an L somewhere. I think so. She's probably going to take. She's been so perfect this season, and nobody's perfect. Like, she was literally Lexi last season. Like, so I think she's going to have to take a downfall somewhere. I think she might end up stealing from her babysitter or something if she's not already.
That was another token that was never followed through on. Was the babysitter watching her?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
See, but this is what I was saying about the show, where they kind of let you figure out the point. It's like, I think as we watch this, because we're so thirsty, like, let's be honest, people are thirsty at this point. We're overthinking everything. Like, if you have a home and you have expensive stuff in there and you're rich, you're going to have a Ring camera, or you might have a Ring camera. Like, I don't think it's that big of a, but I think the reason they did that is because they wanted her to see, like she was watching, but she was like, oh, she's just being innocent and sweet and like a kid. And I was there too, and that's why she gave her the dress. I think Maddie, I don't know if they're seniors or not. I was kind of thinking that they were, but
I think they are.
Because didn't she say like because she was like, you're about to be 18, right, Talia?
Yeah. Season 1, she's 17, so she's gonna turn 18. We're still on the same academic year. She's gonna turn 18 soon, so she's about to skedaddle from high school.
Yeah. So I think that if she remains in high school, I have no idea what's gonna happen, because this is kind of my fear with the show is if they all remain in high school and they go into the senior year, I guess you can kind of play back into prom and like where we're going to college and all that kind of stuff. A little less interesting to me than college, because that's a criticism a lot of people have of the show is like, this could just literally have been in college. I don't know if I fully agree with that statement. Yeah. There's some elements that could be, but I definitely think if Maddie jumps into college like McKay or something else, I would love for them to explore that, because I think a lot of these topics do happen in a college setting, but they get a little bit more mature, and there's a different approach when you have like a 24-year-old at college with like an 18-year-old, and there's different life lessons and things that you go through. A lot of similar topics, but get a little bit more aggressive. You're on your own. So for me, I think for next season, if they go that route, I would like to see some of that college stuff.
Okay.
Talia, you have any prediction next season at all, or anything you'd like to see?
I'm still shooting for Jules and Nate.
Okay.
I just have a feeling something's gonna happen between them. I'm hoping Rue stays sober. I don't know how Lexi will be played into Fez's life after what had happened. I'm sure she will be some impact to it.
Yep.
And then I think I don't know. I mean, like, I think with Maddie, like, I can see her being shown in college, but she's had a good start with her career. Like, she can, like, like, not saying like you can leave, like you can be more successful somewhere else, like movies and all that, but like I don't really see her staying on for so long.
I think that's a really interesting point, is that a lot of them don't really have to stick with Euphoria. I think that a lot of these actors, now that they've kind of used this as their stomping grounds, I think we could see them go on to different projects and take on different things. And with that being said, Yao, do you think Ash and Fez, they're dead, they're gone, they're done?
I think so. I think it was a big mistake on their part, but I also I can also understand like what really is the longevity of those characters. It's kind of like they had two options, and eventually it was going to be that or something of the sort. Mm-hmm. It could have been a happy ending too, but ultimately, especially with like a wild card like Ashtray, who you never really got a plot line out of or any sort of hope of a progression.
Yeah.
That's all you got. So
you think Fez is dead too?
I don't think Fez may be dead, but I think if he's in jail, we may not see him. We probably might get a brief thing in the start, but we won't see him for the rest of the season.
Someone commented and said Cassie's going to run Nate over with her car.
I
can very much see Cassie going very crazy. I definitely could see that.
Yeah, she gives me like killer vibes, like
big killer vibes. I thought she was really going to kill somebody.
She would be great in a horror movie.
Yep. Faye is snitching. This person says Faye is also snitching on Lori, and that will help. That'll kind of help Rue get out of that situation. I could see that.
There's no way Lori's getting touched. I don't think so.
Well, you got to get Fez out of jail somehow. So, maybe they pin it on Lori.
Fez is going to. There is nothing saving. Like they need Cochran or somebody. Like they need a top of the line lawyer to get. There was weapons in the house. They had a minor. He had a minor holding a weapon, endangering the elderly.
Hold on. Whoa! Don't put that smut on Fez's name.
This is the police report. That's not me. This is the police report.
Whoa! First off, hold on. Those guns, those are registered, okay? This is California. You got to register those, okay? The police, the body cam, they saw him saying, "Don't shoot, don't shoot." So
it's true.
Okay.
Look, Fez got to hire me, man. That's what's gonna happen. I'll get him out of the situation.
He needs something serious. I've tried it so many times. I'm like, oh, maybe there's no chance. In my mind, there is no chance.
All right, guys. Talia, go ahead. You had something to say?
No, I was gonna say maybe like probation. I don't
know. I really think, and my last points is Faye already said on tape Lori killed Mouse and gave Lori's address. True. Ooh. That is true. So that's, again, I think a couple of things we got to solve for season 3. 1, we got to get Rue out of this situation with Lori. 2, Lori has got to sober up. I mean, Rue has got to sober up. Rue's got to sober up, and we got to figure out how she does that. 3, Fez, what is happening with him? What's happening with Lori? Oh my God, I keep saying Lori. I'm stuck on Lori. What is happening with Fez and Lexi? Is Fexi over? Is that going to still be a thing? 4, is Cassie and Nate going to be a thing? Is she going to still fall into that same pattern that we saw with our girl Maddie? 5, is Kat. Is Kat going to get that plot line back? And number 6, is McKay going to get work? Is he going to get hired? That's what we got to find out. Like, we got to get our boy McKay some work. Maybe they can have him be in the background, do some extra work, but
hey, McKay, Indeed.com. Just go on Indeed.com, man.
Nah, man. I want to start looking. Was sad because I did like McKay's character. But I don't know, man. I heard some crazy things about maybe he didn't want to get masked up and vaccinated. I heard things that him and Sam didn't get along. Do you guys buy any of that at all, by the way, that Sam and these actors aren't getting along?
I think politics play a big part. I think politics was the reason why what's his name? Dominic Fix was able to sing a whole song and broadcast his singing career. And Zendaya, of course, we already know, obviously, with her no nudity clause. I think it plays a big part.
This person said Fez and Lexi are going to go into the witness protection and be farmers. Oh man, that would be a beautiful little side story. I listen, I agree. I think that there is definitely some politics. I think one of the main issues that they probably have behind the scenes that the actors want to be writers, and then when you let Zendaya and Hunter Schafer write, but you don't let Kat write, it kind of becomes this. I don't get to write. But I would say at the end of the day, they put asses in the seat. I mean, they're the main characters, so not everyone gets the same privilege and treatment, and that's just kind of.
It's a lot of pressure too. I probably wouldn't want to write an episode if millions of people are going to view it. Okay.
Exactly.
Also, we were talking about earlier too. Like, I think the actors are really in tune with what the fans want. Like, they read it on social media and people are commenting on their posts and stuff, and like a lot of that becomes personal, where people can't separate the actor from the character.
That's true.
And, like, that can slander their social media and like their futures and stuff like that too.
That's true. If you got a plot line that's like makes you really heinous, like maybe Kat's like, dude, I don't want these people to attack me anymore,
Right.
Everyone was writing like RIP on ashtrays, like Instagram. I'm like, come on, man, come on. But this person on YouTube just commented Laundry Day. They said, but Zendaya is a producer though. And that's where I agree. I'm like, she's putting her money into the project, and like Hunter Schafer is doing that as well. And they were like, they're kind of investors. So I feel like they should be allowed to write, but I'm completely against the idea that actors, if just because you're in the show, you become a writer. Like that doesn't make sense.
Do we think that Future and Drake are going to show up in an episode?
I think at least Drake should be in the episode. He should be like a counselor or something. Style. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yo, the you know what? They're obsessed with the multiverse right now. What if Degrassi and Euphoria have like a and HBO is making a new Degrassi show, so
no,
they should just take all the Euphoria cast and put them in there.
Boy.
Hold on, because if East Highland is in California and Degrassi's in Canada, they're really gonna have to do like a big. That might be like Super Bowl numbers.
Whoa!
Like, it's
breaking news. I'm sorry, breaking news. East Highland, is that what the Euphoria High School is called?
Yes, East Highland. Yep.
Breaking news on Tea Time here.
East Highland High.
You didn't know that, T?
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm making a joke. Everyone's always like Euphoria High. So
yeah, for the longest we never knew. But I think it might have been revealed that it was East Highland in one of the shots of Fez's store, because it shows East Highland as a town. And then from there, I think this last episode was when they confirmed that it was East Highland. That's when I really noticed was the play, because everyone kept saying, I was like, what high school are they at, man? Like, this is ridiculous.
Oh, they show it in season 1 too.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
See, the thing is though, Talia, is that came out in 2019. And I'm a real fan, so I'm an OG fan, so
whatever.
All right, guys, thank you for watching Tea Time. Producer Carly Yao, thank you so much for being on. Talia, this has been a great series and season for us. Let us know in the comments below, what other shows should we watch? Now we're going to take a little week break. Talia and I will not be here next week. We will be the week after. But let us know, what show should we watch? Before we head out, Carly, Talia, are you guys watching any other shows? Like right now, I started watching Pam and Tommy, but I stopped after 2 or 3 episodes because I got a little busy. But are you guys watching any other shows right now?
Snowfall just started back up, so I'm watching that, and then I'm also watching Dexter. So those are my shows right now.
Ooh, what was the first one called?
Snowfall.
Snowfall.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the show where like it's like the black cast, all black cast kind of?
Yes, it's with Damson Idris. And he's it's crazy, man. I don't know how he's doing this.
So a little thing about that show. First off, I heard that show was incredible and everyone's crushing. I really want to see it. I heard that this guy, Damson Idris, there's rumors, and this is just people talking and speculating, that he could potentially take over and become Black Panther at some point.
Oh.
That people like him to take over. So
okay.
I can see that.
Is he that good, Yao?
He's great. Like he's playing a Compton character, and he's from. I didn't even know he was English until I saw him on Instagram trending. Like I don't know how they sound out in California, but to me he sounds like he's from California. So like
I saw a video of him on TikTok, and I was like, does he talk in his everyday voice in an accent? Because he said he's British, so I don't know.
No, he puts on a strong like Compton accent in Snowfall, and he does an amazing job. Like he has some very, very nice quotables.
Laundry Day says, check out the show Moon Knight when that drops on Disney. We have a separate channel for Marvel stuff called What's Next. So go over there and subscribe and check that out. We'll definitely cover it here and there on the Circle Club show as well. But if you want all Marvel content, go over to What's Next.
That's with Poe, right?
That's with Corey and I.
No, sorry, I meant Moon Knight, like the.
Oh yeah. So Moon Knight is.
I was like, who's Paul? Is there someone we don't know?
That's Oscar Isaac, who plays Poe Dameron in the Star Wars series.
Yeah, okay, I remember seeing something about that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Producer Carly, are you watching anything right now?
I feel like I'm gonna be so bored now that Euphoria is over. I've been watching some of the Studio Ghibli movies, and now one that I can think of that like watching on and off is Peaky Blinders that I really like. I don't know if you guys have watched that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's really good so far.
I always say Ghibli. I hate it, but it's Ghibli. I know it's. I learned.
Okay, I say Ghibli too.
Yeah, I learned it the wrong way, and I'm like, now it's Ghibli forever. What about you, Miss Talia? Are you watching anything right now?
I am watching Pam and Tommy.
Are you liking it?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, maybe we pick that up. Maybe we pick that up at some point.
I don't know how much episodes are left in the season. Yeah, so we can consider it. Yeah. But I'm doing this new thing this year where I'm like going in alphabetical order with like TV shows to watch. So right now I'm starting with the letter A. So we're on American Horror Story.
Okay, nice.
Is there a specific season you're watching?
I am on season 4, but I just realized that it's being removed from Netflix starting tomorrow.
Oh man, Netflix is gonna be hurting. Man.
I think
they're the worst. I found out that they canceled one of my favorite shows of all time, Santa Clarita Diet. I love that show so much. It's a great comedy. One. It's a great one. It's about this like suburban family, and then the wife becomes a zombie, and they get into all sorts of crazy antics. Ooh. It's hilarious.
I'm like, I feel like a like little boy again, because like I have been just so into FT Zerks, thank you for showing up. Thank you, Laundry Day. Thank you, Takuya. Appreciate it. I have just been so interested in like the superhero stuff again, like, but specifically DC, because I feel like I've just been so stuck on Marvel for such a long time. And DC, honestly, like I feel like people would like DC way more. You have to have the stomach for it. But like the show, like I kind of feel like sometimes with Marvel, like they write shows and like it's like, oh, let's have this female character, but like they kind of like do it in a way where like they don't treat her equally. It's kind of like they try to prop up this female character, but it's written from the perspective of a man. Whereas like with some of the DC shows where when the women speak, you can tell that it's a woman writer. And then like I look in the credits specifically for that too, because I'm like is that a thing? And it definitely is. And like DC is just way more like bloody and grimy. So I'm watching this show called Doom Patrol. I watched the Harley Quinn animated show is so good. It's like 20-minute episodes. They're so funny. Basically, in that show, Harley Quinn and the Joker break up, and she kind of wants to have her own name. She's like, man, I don't need you no more. And it's just so well done. It's so funny. So I'm just kind of playing around in the DC world right now. And yeah, I want to get back into Pam and Tommy. So maybe I'll watch some of those episodes, Talia. But yeah, other than that, I'm doing stuff with Corey and what's next. We're rewatching all the Marvel movies. Right now, we just made it to the Avengers movie. So that's like 5 in. So that's a fun thing to do as well. It like we're just doing once a week, one movie a week. That's fun to do. It's funny to watch those and see like how different time is. Like it really is. Like Carly was mentioning this with Euphoria. It's like I think one day we'll be able to go back and watch Euphoria and be like, that is what 2021 looks like. That's what 2020 looks like. And I see that a lot with some of these Marvel movies. But all right, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. We make new videos every single week. Euphoria is gone, but we aren't. We will be back, and I can assure you that we will be covering season 3, and any little news that comes out about it, we'll be covering it as well. And Talia, thank you so much for being a great, great host of Tea Time. Boy, Euphoria is over. Thank you guys for all watching. We love you and see you in the next video.
Peace out, guys.